What a cute little guy. Oh. With Minecraft Live out of the way, everyone is still asking for an end update, so I figured while we wait for Mojang, why not make an end update myself? Let's start by fixing the end's monotony, because right now everything's just purple. Look at the nether for example, it features a multitude of colors, including ones that you wouldn't expect to find in the nether, like cyan in the warped forest. So how much of a stretch would it be to bring new colors to the end dimension, like green, orange, more purple? Let's start with the first biome we've worked on, being the Tennium dunes. I wanted to have an ecosystem resembling something like the Crimson Forest in which mobs prey on each other, and I also wanted to give it an overarching theme. We initially tried theming the biome's mechanics around stealth and caves, but this theme didn't really stick and we just ended up with a bunch of disconnected ideas that didn't go anywhere. So we went back to the drawing board. We took the idea of caves and thought about giving players a new way to excavate them. What's a great way to excavate? Explosions, of course, so why not give the biome an explosive theme? We began to brainstorm how explosions could be present in our biome. Maybe a new creeper variant? Never mind. We scrapped that. How about, okay, hear me out. Kinetic energy. Imagine a block that builds up energy as it falls and releases it all at once in one big explosion on impact with the ground.
That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, we also covered the entire surface of the biome with this block. Now we can build the rest of the biome on top of this, literally, starting with an alien plant that extracts nutrients from the sand, giving their spores explosive properties. Let's start with the most obvious part about it, being its blocks. We have charge stems and spored charge stems, but this block is what interests me. They're the frills of the charge tree, which generate nice little particles. These frills also work as a point of interest for the mobs found in this biome, encouraging interactions between the predators and prey who would want to go here for the plant's spores. This little guy's name is the salvo. We originally called them charge poles as they charge from the charge tree's spores and for their tadpole-like appearance. However, we've had way too many things with the name charge in their name already, and salvo is a much more fitting name given their self-defense mechanism.
Wait, so what does salvo mean?
Hold up, let me check the dictionary. There, I found it. A simultaneous discharge of artillery.
Artillery? Why the hell would you name this guy for something you'd hear about in a war documentary?
What a cute little guy. And if you somehow manage to survive the salvo self-defense attack, it also gives you a new potion effect, which turns you into a literal living ticking time bomb if you don't act fast. This effect also makes you faster, so if you're feeling risky, you can stack it with speed to get... Getting back to the salvo, as long as you don't aggravate them, they can be a very useful mob. They have a unique breeding mechanic as they hatch their newborn on their back, and aside from looking adorable as hell, the babies of the salvos can also be bucketed, allowing you to easily transport them back to your base so you can farm them for a new item. Charge spores can be sheared off the backs of salvos, and walking over it transfers your eruptive effect to the block. This also turns them into a landmine, so make sure to step off or else... yeah. Aside from blowing you up when stepped on, the spores can be bone mealed, allowing you to grow charge trees anywhere you want. Charge spores also have a linking property that ignites any other explosive block next to it, including other charge spores, allowing you to create fuses for your grand explosions. Now, this biome might seem scary already, but don't worry, it gets worse. Meet the salvo's nemesis, the Soko. They're an ambush predator, which means that you should probably keep an eye out nearby charge trees, which is their favorite hiding spot, where they wait for unsuspecting salvos to draw near. They do so by burying themselves underneath the Tennium sand and jump out when anyone gets near enough, locking their prey between their jaws. On top of their deadly attacks, Sorokos are also nearly immune to explosions, so good luck to any salvo trying to fight these guys. If you do manage to kill a Soko, you get two different items, the first one being their meat. I wanted to do something unique with the Soko chops instead of making it a simple food source, so I took the opportunity to show the fact that these mobs and plants found in the Tennium dunes have adapted to their environment, and the Soko is a great example of that. Soko chops are better eaten raw rather than cooked, as the meat becomes hard and rocky when exposed to high heat, just like the rocky skin on the front of the Soko. It does that because Sorokos have evolved to grow really hard skin in order to survive the salvo's explosive self-defense attack. I still wanted to make hardened Soko chops useful, so even though they're not really nutritious, they apply a new effect that is inspired by the Soroko's knockback resistance. The sturdiness effect is very useful in the end, given that the entire dimension has a void that you really do not want to be knocked into by any means, so there's definitely an incentive to have a few of these on you at all times. Getting back to the Siroko's loot, they also drop their scutes, which can be used to craft a brand new explosive weapon.
Wait. So let me get this straight. We're making a biome with trench-like formations, tank-like mobs, landmines, and explosive weapons? Lux, I'm not sure we're making a Minecraft biome. I think we're just recreating World War I.
Shh, don't say that word, you'll attract Diansu.
What, you mean World War
Are you guys talking about World War I? Did you know the modern grenade was invented a few years before the First World War? You know, we should add grenades.
No, Diansu, we're not. Lux, no, don't even think
I
it.
think a lot of people have suggested adding grenades in one way or another to Minecraft, but let's be honest, Mojang would never add something like that. I'm not Mojang. So here's the Spore Shell. They're a new projectile weapon that bounces off of surfaces and blows up when it hits entities, which allows you to pull off some insane plays with enough skill under your belt. Not only that, they apply the eruptive effect on impact as well. You can also shoot them from a crossbow, allowing you to triple the amount of violence you can commit by using multi-shot. Okay, enough explosives. Let's talk building blocks. Aside from Tennium, this biome also has a new rock type called Beltstone. Unlike normal blocks, Beltstone can withstand just about any explosion you throw at it. But there's a catch, as it can only protect against one explosion before it crumbles into a new block type called Crumbling Beltstone. This block is one of my favorites because it solves one of the most annoying problems in the end dimension. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever played on a server with friends where everyone hasn't obtained the elytra yet? Because I have, and 99% of the time, players resort to getting between end islands by building these ugly one block thin bridges, usually made out of cobblestone or wood planks, and not only are they an eyesore, but they are also really annoying to get rid of. This is where Crumbling Beltstone comes in. Unlike its normal counterpart, it can be broken very fast, so if you run out of bridging materials, this can save a lot of time compared to mining endstone. Crumbling Beltstone is also affected by gravity, but it takes 3 seconds for them to actually fall, allowing you to bridge across end islands without leaving any trace. You might have noticed by now that I really like adding in blocks with new behaviors, like Tennium sand blowing up when falling a certain amount of time, or Crumbling Beltstone having a delayed fall, and that's because we want to encourage players to try to mess around with them and discover new possibilities. In the game design world, we call this emergent gameplay. It refers to when simple behaviors can come together and form complex systems, just like redstone. And the next block we're adding is perfectly described by this due to the amount of unique interactions it has. Let's push the theme of explosives to a new level by adding a TNT variant. Tennium, as the name suggests, is made out of Tennium sand instead of the normal kind, and it works very differently from normal TNT. When lit, Tennium will only blow up once it hits the floor, just like Tennium sand, allowing you to almost instantly blow it up by lighting it on the ground. If you do light it up from a height though, you might notice that the blast radius gets a tad bit bigger. That's because the longer it falls, the more powerful it gets. Just with these two behaviors, you can probably already imagine what kind of world eaters you could set up using Tennium, but that's not all. There's a third behavior that it holds, which is inspired by TNT jumping in old multiplayer game modes like Skywars. Tennium has increased knockback, and together with their instant explosion on impact, it allows you to easily TNT jump around. And that's about it for the Tennium Dunes, but don't worry, we have lots of other features planned for the future. Now, as for how you can download this mod, I am planning to release this mod publicly, eventually, but it's far from finished, and I'll be honest, I don't want to deal right now with all the CurseForge comments of kids begging me to fix some obscure bug that only happens to their defective 2007 HP laptop, but I'll make an exception for some of you. If you want to support me on Ko-Fi, basically Patreon but better, one of the perks you get is early access to this mod, plus other ones like Bafal, which is the mod that I use in my last video. Not only that, you also get other perks for being a supporter, like sneak peeks for things I'm working on and a supporter only chat in our Discord server. If all that sounds cool to you, I've left a link for my Ko-Fi page both in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. I'd really appreciate it if you check it out. Subscribe.